3.
I'm glad you didn't ask me mine because I can't tell you.
Okay. I got what? 914...
03.
I have 23. 91403.
Yes.
Okay, Renzo?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, Al, it's your turn.
Yes. Back in 1930, I was about 14 years old.
Well, listen, you've been around a while.
Yes, I've been around a while. At that time, I remember there was a sort of a war going on between the doctors and the chiropractors. And the doctors felt the obligation to protect the public from these chiropractors who didn't know what they were doing. The chiropractors started to have electronic machines in their offices that were healing people with waves.
Terrible.
And the doctors got very upset about this and said it was a lot of a humbug. And they actually got a law passed, and the law officials came out with axes and went into the chiropractor's office and chopped up the machines. And it may be just a quirk of our human nature that this wonderful thing was lost back then, because probably the doctors thought they were doing the right thing at the time to chop up the machines. But it certainly stopped all research in that area, and you were a humbug if you were connected with it, you see.
Even though it's interesting to note that physicists have been very aware of that, and again, this was a theme of a Congress that we held recently, bridging the gap within the health field between physics and medicine.
Yes.
You have structures, you have individuals who can now prove the existence of a lot of very ancient techniques, and I don't want to go too far off the subject, but I think this would be very apropos. In our November Congress, we had 2 French MDs who work at the Nuclear Medical Hospital in Paris, France, who injected radioactive isotopes into the acupuncture points, and using gamma cameras were able to visibly display the entire classical acupuncture system 100% as it's been stated for thousands of years. My point really is that as science finally catches up with the ways to measure some of these energies, they are not invalidating all of the old techniques. In fact, they're proving a lot of these techniques exist. Now, in this field of electromagnetics, our problem is that the data has really always been there, but the medical establishment, for some reason, doesn't always go by the laws of physics, because if they did, they would be more inclined to follow these exact techniques that we're talking about.
Besides, they'd never get out of college.
No.
But listen, if Mexico will put up with Laetrile, maybe they would stand for somebody having a machine down there that the cancer people could walk in front of.
Why should we have to run and leave our country to go to cross the border to have, and I know exactly what you're saying, we agree with you, too. What we're asking the people really to think about is, shouldn't we try all the different possibilities and see what might be additionally helpful for us? And that's all the 3 of us are really even talking about on this show.
You won me over.
Oh, good.
Good to have you aboard.
Yes, Sister Kenny had a bad time, too.
Most of the great innovators did.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
That's all. Thanks.
Thank you.
Wonderful program. Bye.
Good to have you aboard. 22 minutes away from midnight on this Saturday night with Steve and Laverne Ross of the World Research Foundation, looking into the tragic story, really, of Royal Rife, his microscope, what he found that could have benefited all of us. But it was perhaps at the wrong time, at the wrong place. We'll be back in just a moment.
Idea of the personality of Rife. In an article that was titled "Disease Germs Destroyed, Claim of San Diego Scientist, Cancer Blow Seen After 18-Year Toil by Rife." This article that appeared in 1938 said, "The discovery promised fulfillment of man's age-old hope for a specific destroyer of all his infectious diseases. Although Rife avoided any claim that he had established this yet, we do not wish at this time," Rife commented, "to claim that we have cured cancer or any other disease for that matter. But we can say that these waves, or this ray, as the frequencies might be called, have been shown to possess the power of devitalizing disease organisms, of killing them when tuned to an exact particular wavelength or frequency for each different organism. This applies to the organisms both in their free state and in living tissues." And I think that gives you a good idea. He was a very conservative individual. He was not one of these people making wild claims. That's a very, very conservative scientific statement.
We were just saying we can't say we cured cancer, but we can kill all of the little mechanisms that call it.
That's right.
And let you
make up your own
mind, or if you have it, get help.
Right.
Which is the bottom line, isn't it? More important than anything else. You're on, Patrick.
Hi, Bill. I've been listening to your show for about a year now, and if you take all the people that have been on your show and all the theories and stuff that you've exposed to the public here, it would seem like this world would really be different.
It would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah. The thing that upsets me, or that I don't understand, is a better way to explain it, is how can all this technology and all these ideas either be squelched or lost to the point where we can't find them, like the microscope and stuff?
I guess the sweet part of it is that they always surface again, so we do end up finding them when the time's right. But I know what you're saying is what happens to them in the interim.
Yeah, well, what brought the question to mind was the fact that you had mentioned earlier a conspiracy, or that he had lost the notes, and I wasn't quite sure. I missed the first hour. I wasn't quite sure what it was.
Well, basically, to sum up quickly, you have a device that had hundreds of newspaper articles, was used in the most prestigious scientific and medical establishments across the country, was 10 times more powerful than any microscope even in existence today of a light source, and yet there is not one mention in any book on the history of microscopes. The articles that appeared in the magazines, if you search through computers, you can't even find the name Royal Rife even existing. This is kind of what we were talking about, and we really literally backed our way into the idea that obviously something happened, that a 50,000 power microscope just disappeared.
We can take the point that what happened was greed, and we have a lot of examples throughout history, and perhaps the most notable one was that of Nikola Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, if you were to take Tesla's inventions out of our society, it would fall flat on its face. But he provoked the ire of J.P. Morgan because he wanted to give the people free energy.
Right.
That was the basic problem. Of course, J.P. Morgan thought giving the people anything was insane and immediately jerked all of his support of Tesla. He had great influence in Washington. His name began to disappear from the textbooks and from the encyclopedias. You can look into the Encyclopedia Britannica, the brand new one. The article on Tesla in there is less than a column. The article on Edison, on the other hand, who was not near the giant of a genius that Tesla was, takes up almost the entire book of E. So,
has there been any kind of papers or documents to suggest that there was some kind of J.P. Morgan to Dr. Wright or Rife?
Well, yes, he did have some problems with individuals who just happened to have been high elected officials of the AMA, who also were very heavily invested in the pharmaceutical companies and insurance companies.
It's just too bad. It really makes me upset. Okay, well, that was it.
Okay.
Well, the thing is we all can be upset, but we look at the positive aspect, and that is that in those times, things seem to kind of be lost very easily, but in today's society, I think a lot more people, thanks to the medias we have, can find out. And just the same way that Laverne and I heard a little bit about it, we hunted and hunted and hunted, and it did exist, and something is happening with it now. I think that's the point we have to look at. We'll be frustrated for one moment, and then we all have to pitch in, work together, and start coming up with the answers that we need.
Yeah. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Patrick.
Patrick, thank you for your interest. And Lloyd, you're on.
Yes, how do you do?
Hi.
Okay, I have had a virus for about 15 years, and I've done all kinds of experiments from every possible angle. And I think I've zeroed in on a way to deal with it, and using frequencies was part of it.
Mm-hmm.
But all the established medical procedures, that they have now, chiropractic, acupuncture, I use all of these in a chain, in a sequence, a specific sequence, and I'm able to do a similar function as far as knocking down the virus. So I'm basically my own guinea pig, a human guinea pig. And using a vibration is part of this procedure.
That you're using?
Yes.